welcome to Paros. So that's where I am on a holiday in the Cyclades Islands. And we are in Pirikia. So that's pretty much the biggest town on the island. Pirikia is a bit of a maze. It's beautiful, but it's a bit of a maze. And let's go. So this is the Aegean Sea. It is called the Aegean Sea because of Aegeus. Aegeus in the Greek mythology was the king of Athens. And he had a son called Theseus. And what happened is in Crete, so further south, the king Minos, again, mythical king, he had his girlfriend, and she had a little crush on a bull. So they had a bit of an affair, and she got pregnant with a mixed race baby, half human, half bull. As you can imagine, that's what happened when you do bestiality. That baby was called the Minotaur because he was the son of Minos, the king of Crete. And every year, the Athenians had to give 7 girls and 7 boys to the Minotaur as a sacrifice, human sacrifice. The Minotaur was kept in a labyrinth in Crete. I might actually tell you the story in more details if I do indeed do a tour from Crete when I go there next week. And Theseus, the son of Aegeus, he one day decided to be one of those victims, one of those people that were going to be sacrificed and given as food to the Minotaur. So he was, of course, admired for his bravery, and he sailed all the way to Crete. And with his dad, they decided that if he came back successfully, if he managed to kill the Minotaur, he would come back to Athens sailing with white sails instead of the dark black sails that they usually have on the ship. So that's how Aegeus would know that his son was victorious, which was very unlikely. Nobody had defeated the Minotaur before. So Theseus went all the way to Crete. He actually met a lovely princess. She's the one that gave him a little string, a little thread. You know, when you say her name was Ariane, in English you might say a breadcrumb trail if you're trying to find your way into a maze. In French, we call it the Ariane trail because of Ariane from Theseus. Anyway, she basically gave him like a rope so he could then find his way into the labyrinth, into the maze. And he went to find the Minotaur with the 13 other victims that were sent with him. And he victoriously killed the Minotaur. And when he sailed back to find his dad back in Athens, yes, Ariane, yeah. And when he sailed back towards Athens, he was really excited because of his new girlfriend. They actually stopped in Naxos, the next island. That's where I'm going next week. And apparently, Ariane, she fell asleep on Naxos. And Theseus decided to just abandon her. He left her there and he sailed back to his dad. But he forgot to change the sails. He forgot to put the white sails. So his dad spotted the ship mile away with the dark sails, the black sails, and he thought his son Theseus had died. So he committed suicide. He jumped off a rock in Athens into the sea and drowned. So that's why it's called the Aegean Sea, because of Aegean. Oh, Leonie, there we go. That's you. That's your friend there. I'm not going to pet him because the sister is not going to be happy. Those streets are beautiful with the bougainvillea. They're really, that's quite typical of the Cyclades Islands. That is the Frankish castle. That dates back to 1260, I think. Paros is also known for its marble. The next island, that's Antiparos, that's where we're going tomorrow. And in between the two, you might see a little rock in the middle of the sea. This is Saliagos. Back thousands of years ago, those two islands would have been joined together. So Saliagos would have been just a piece of land at the time. It wasn't an island yet. Originally, when they found it, they thought it was some kind of naive, primitive form of art. It's the bum of the lady on the arm. She's missing the top. And eventually they found out this is 5,000 BC. So we're talking 7,000 years old. And eventually those little figurines, they came up in the next hundreds and thousands of years all over the island. The archaeologists, they found a lot of those. We don't know whether they are goddesses. Most of them are female. Or they could also be figurines of people, normal people. Some of them happen to have little marks on their bodies. So that's what leads us to believe that the civilization of the islanders, they might have had tattoos or body art. And this little shop here is selling some kind of, semi-replica. It is art, but they've been inspired by the original. And actually, one of the most famous piece of Parean, we call it the Parean marble, it's been used, it's like semi-transparent marble. It has been used for many famous buildings or statues. Let's go towards the main street. Paros is, of course, known for the marble. Oh, look at this. This is a famous shoe shop. They're doing some kind of Roman sandals. And apparently they've been here since 1935. So one of the most interesting spots to shop. So as I mentioned earlier, we are on the Cyclades. The Cyclades is a set of islands in the Aegean Sea. Let me explain why it's called the Cyclades. Cycla is for circle, so it's basically a circle of islands around the island of Delos. Delos is a very sacred island. What happened in Delos? That's where Apollo was born. Apollo, the god of prophecy, the god of music. Apollo was the son of Zeus and Leto. Leto was not Zeus's girlfriend. The official Zeus's wife and sister, yes, that's when it gets confusing. Her name is Hera. She's the goddess of family. And so when Hera heard that Leto was pregnant by her husband and brother Zeus, she got extremely jealous. And she told Leto that she was banned. She was not allowed to give birth anywhere on solid land. So Leto, with her big tummy, she had a particularly big tummy. She was going from places to places, not knowing where to go and give birth. And eventually she ended up in the Isle of Delos. Because it was an island, that was okay. That was not solid ground. So that's where she gave birth to one baby, Apollo. But then there was another one, Artemis. So she was very surprised by the second one. She gave birth to twins. Apollo was blonde with blue eyes, and he looked like the sun. Artemis was white with dark hair. She looked like the moon. And Leto was struggling to feed and raise those two babies. One day she was trying to get some water from a pond when some naughty villagers came to the pond and they were stirring the mud in the bottom to make the water undrinkable. Leto was furious. She changed them into frogs. So they had to live the rest of their lives as frogs. And Artemis and Apollo were given arches. Artemis ended up becoming the goddess of hunting because she was really good at archery. Look at this beautiful romantic little restaurant. and Apollo was obsessed by a snake. What happened is Hera, she was still furious, and she sent the snake to target the family and the two new gods. And Apollo wanted to kill the snake. The snake was called Python. I believe that's where we got the name Pythons from. And eventually, Apollo managed to kill Python, and that's why the Isle of Delos ended up being very sacred in the Greek mythology. So all those Cyclades, they're basically circling around the Isle of Delos. So that's a bit of Greek mythology for you. Now let's go. Oh, that's cool. It's not too busy. It's much busier than it was last Sunday when I kind of planned this tour. Now let's talk about Greek. Let's see. Can we see any Greek language anywhere? You know, in English, when you don't understand anything, or if it's not in your kind of knowledge, you'll say, "Oh, it's all Greek to me." Well, in French, we actually say, "Oh, it's all Chinese to me." Oh, there we go. Here is some Greek. So that's probably because actually 10% of the French language comes from Greek. You might get a better deal if you, like we did, we literally booked them from the airport. Yes, to give you an idea, we are paying 20 euros a day for a moped. Well, we've got one each because I don't trust my sister's driving and she doesn't trust mine. So we feel safer with two. But yeah. Anyway, let's get back to Greek. So in French, it's much more obvious because we've got much more Greek. But you've got, for example, pâté. Pâté means sick. So you've got a lot of work with patho, like pathogenic for germs. Phile is love, like pedophile. But again, all this is quite discreet in English because only a few of those words have made their way all the way to English. In French, it's much more obvious, like scope. It's to look, like telescope. Microscope, micro, of course, Greek as well. So that's small, of course. Or therapol. Therapol, I don't want to be filming people. Therapol is care. So that's how we got therapy. And so yeah, we've got a very long list of English terms that are actually Greek, like marathon. Let me show you a photo, a little illustration of Europe. I spotted her today on my 2 pound coins, my Greek, 2 euros, of course, not 2 points. So we are going to go into an amazing church here. Well, we'll try. I don't know. I might be kicked out. It's the Holy Church of the Virgin Mary. Let's try. I'm going to zip it for now because I don't think it's really acceptable to be like talking out loud in a church. And I'll tell you a bit more as soon as we are out again. So this is a Byzantine church. My sister nearly fell down on the marbles. Luckily, it doesn't rain too much in this country because this marble can be really slippery. That's amazing to have signal in here. In London, I don't have signal anywhere. Here, I've got amazing signal even into a church. Yes, exactly, Natasha. Yeah. Right, so beautiful building. Apparently, some of the foundations of the place of worship dates back to 326. The tour, but let me cross over because there's a lovely little building on that side there, so there'll be a nice view to finish the tour. All right, thank you guys for coming tonight. Thank you, Gilan. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Leslie.